Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Amy with GrowthZone, provider of Chamber Master, and on behalf of our team, we thank you for taking time out of your day to join us. And of course, we're thrilled to have membership expert Melynn Sight with us today. Before we get started, I would like to go over just a few items. For those of you joining us online, you should be seeing the presentation on your screen alongside a control panel, which we've got a slide of. Through the control panel, you can select your audio mode, ask questions, and raise hands. If you're listening, right now you're listening in on your computer speaker system by default. If you'd prefer to join over the phone, just select telephone in the audio pane, and the dial-in information will be displayed. You can feel free to submit questions and comments through the questions pane of the control panel, and we will address as many as we can during the Q&A session at the end of today's presentation. The webinar is being recorded. Everyone who registered is going to receive the recording via the email address they used to register. So regardless if they joined us live, all registrants will receive the recording. I think we have a slide on that too. Live attendees will receive 1 CAE credit. Their certificates will be sent via the email address you used when you registered. It should land in your inbox hopefully later today or first thing tomorrow. We'll be sending a post-webinar survey link with that email, and as always, we appreciate your feedback. Our number one priority at GrowthZone and Chamber Master is helping associations and chambers thrive. We are, of course, closely monitoring legislative activity regarding the relief for member-based organizations. And you can find updates on our COVID page on growthzone.com. And as I mentioned at the start, my name is Amy, and I'm part of the GrowthZone marketing team. I write a lot of our blogs and content pieces, conduct research, and manage webinars as well as our social media presence. We're on all of the major social media platforms and work hard to provide relevant information for associations and chambers with very little, if any, self-promotion. And hello to our customers with us. We're glad you are joining us. And others of you may not be as familiar with our membership management software. So I encourage you to reach out and schedule a brief, no pressure demo to see GrowthZone in action. The link will be posted in the Q&A section, and it is on the current slide. Or you can go to growthzone.com, where you will see the link to a demo request on the homepage, which we have that up right now. Before I hand it over to Melynn, I want to be sure to invite all of you to our upcoming webinar on May 7th. That's part 2 of Write Like a Rock Star. I know a lot of you were with us for the first one. It was very well attended. In that webinar, she's going to continue building on the principles and rules we started in part 1, and that recording is available on demand in the Knowledge Library section of the GrowthZone website. So join us at 12 Central on Thursday, May 7th, and the registration link will be available soon. I might include that in the Q&A section as well. So let's move to the reason you are all here, Melynn Sight. Melynn left corporate marketing in 2007 to work with leaders of member-based organizations. She is passionate about helping chamber and association pros build and grow their knowledge and skill sets. Today, she's going to dial in on how to be deliberate in crisis communications with members. So let's get things started. Hello, Melynn.
Hi, Amy. Nice to see you again. I feel like we've been together every couple weeks. It's excellent.
I know. There's more coming. So exciting.
Excellent. All right. Ready to go. So hi, everyone. Wow. I appreciate the chance to join you today. This is a challenging topic. It's hard to know how many of you, or even like think about your members, how many of them no longer have a paycheck. They're losing sleep about, what's happening next, the survival of their business. How many of them are, and then how many of you, for that reason, have been touched by COVID-19, whether it's your family or people you care about or those that you serve. So, man, in any of those cases, I just want to start with my heart goes out to all of you who are managing through this crisis, who are dealing with a crisis of your own. And we are all in this together, trying to do what we're going to talk about today. So communication, man, it keeps a community together. It helps us relay vital information, whether it's to keep people safe or to help them sleep better at night. It can be, and I'm thinking of a nursing home or an emergency room, it can be a lifeline. Communication is a lifeline when you or I can't be there. Man, communication, I'm thinking of a landlord, I'm thinking of someone trying to pay their rent, can't pay their rent. Maybe it's a landlord in a bank or a renter and a landlord. Man, communications is really, really vital, especially in a crisis. So I suspect that many of the people that you serve are having to make really tough decisions, both personal ones and professional ones. So let's get all on the same page. The way that you communicate could help put them at ease and help bridge that feeling of uncertainty. I know this, you have people that are relying on you and they are watching you. So you cannot afford to wing it. And if you're not someone who likes to wing it, you are in the right place today. So let's hit pause from agita, the disruption, to talk about clear, effective communications in any crisis, and especially this crisis. We all know what happens when communications is inconsistent. It is the opposite of solidarity. It leads to uncertainty, to fear, to anxiety, and frustration. I'm sure you all have varying levels of that. Layer on being isolated and the end of the routine as we know it, and anticipating what's going to happen if and when work stops. Man, what happens when that check doesn't come in? This is a normal, let's call this a normal crisis. In a normal crisis, you're in recovery mode. Think like hurricane or tornado and other kinds of crises where you're trying to get people out, get them safe, get them reunited. In other words, putting things back together after the storm or after the crisis ends. This one's different, isn't it? You're working to react. We're all working, like thinking forward with kind of conflicting signs. We're in like this new reality, even if the reality is only for today. What do you tell those people that you serve? What should you tell them? What do you deliver? What do you not do? What do you not say? Some of us are still in prevention mode. Some are willing to risk whatever they need to risk to return to some kind of normal. Are you there for advice? Are you there just to show that you care? There are so many mixed messages today and emotions. Wow. So no wonder, and I hope that that's why 500 of you are on the line today, so we can today look at being credible in a crisis. 6 ways to build credibility and rapport in this time of uncertainty. We used to think of uncertainty as every day. Do you remember that months ago? We used to say, oh, we're in uncertain times. Uncertainty has a brand new definition today, doesn't it? So if you can get it right today, I think you have it made for the future. So this is going to be a roadmap for the way you organize your head as you try to connect with your members today. And who knows, it might teach you some unexpected, maybe new norms, new practices for moving forward. Or, I don't know, I hope not, but maybe this will help all of us for the next time that we're in an uncharted water like we are today. So I wonder if some of you are feeling like you're settled into the new normal. It was a crisis 30 days ago. What is it today? I was chatting with Amy. It's crazy and unsettling and moving at the speed of light. I just wonder, how do you move on to the next step? I don't know. You might be still trying to get your footing to establish this quote new normal. There might be some communication conflicts between leaders and staff people on what's most important, maybe how often to report the news. So I hope today you're going to take 1 or 2 things that you can use right away if you have yet to develop some structure. Or maybe it will validate that you have the right structure in place. So I hope that you're going to leave here with one gem, one new idea that's going to help you be more confident as we move through these turbulent days. Okay, here's a caveat. I cannot tell you today what you should say. I'm not in your shoes. I'm not in your head. I'm not maybe in your industry. So today's examples, they aim to give you just a moment of pause, a moment to think, to give you a structure. So if I were with you, I would say, hey, could you do me a favor and raise your right hand and say, I will take a breath and spend this hour to think about how to best connect with my worried souls, my stakeholders, my members. Okay, let's get started. These are the 6 key takeaways. I'm not suggesting 6 new things to start. I'm suggesting that you use what you have and make sure that you think about all 6 of these ideas. So while I'm reviewing them, remember, they're all interconnected. They're not in a certain order. There's no right or wrong order, but they all fit together and they all result in genuine, thought out, confident communications in a time like this. So think about your target audience right now, like put them in your head, the ones who are feeling helpless and fearful and worried and in the thick of it, and how maybe one or more of these little changes, these ideas can help you do what you do even better to reach them, to help them, and ultimately what we're all trying to do in the association business, and that's build value. So today, more than ever, you, your boss, your staff, your leaders are all in the communications business. So get ready, let's start. First and foremost, show care. Looking out for one another, looking out for something bigger. Representation, isn't that what an association is? A sense of community. You guys play a vital role today. And because of all that you're trying to juggle, it's natural that your communications might lean a little bit towards the news, the association update, the board decision. Maybe, just maybe, your president might be asking, hey, I need to be visible right now. What can I say? What can I do to be visible? So step 1 is to focus on them first. Them, that worried soul. Not them, the president, them, the worried soul, their reaction to the shutdown or the things coming to a halt. What must be their questions, their worries? You, your leader, your president, your staff, you are the ones to, like, today be empathetic. There are excellent examples out there of people being genuine, authentic, showing care. So I'm going to show you a few today just to reinforce this point. So stick with me. Headline: we need more leaders today. We just need more leaders. What is your leader saying? In any situation, what the leader says matters. Don't let them get in front of a video and be trivial. They need to think about what they're conveying, and that their first and foremost job is to show care. This image that you see right here, I don't know if you remember this way back then. It's called the bullhorn moment. It was President Bush after Ground Zero, after the 9/11 attacks. He spoke of national grief and national pride. He showed care. President Barack Obama, after the Newtown, Connecticut shooting, he spoke from the heart. He showed tears as a president and as a father. How does a leader show care at a time like this? So let's go a little bit closer to home. I want to show you an introduction to an e-news from back in mid-March, just after the news broke about the pandemic, from an association president that showed care. So let's read it together. The last few days have been extremely trying for all of us. Trying to help our clients during a pandemic has to be one of the greatest challenges we'll ever face. And you can read the rest. The association president thought through the concept of focus before you write. Do you guys remember that 2 weeks ago? Many of you, we were together 2 weeks ago. Focus before you write the 4 questions. This president almost intuitively thought through the 4 questions before he said this. Get yourself in the mindset to share care, show care when you answer your 4 questions right now. Earlier, I said use what you have. So anybody who took that note from 2 weeks ago Thursday and answered the 4 questions, here's going to be just a gentle reminder. Those of you who are now getting used to it and making it a habit, which I hope you will because it gets easier as you go, it makes all the difference. If you know your goal, you're going to be more focused on what you say. If you know that audience, you're going to be more likely to speak in their own language. What worries are plaguing them right now? If you're clear on your goal and your audience, you'll absolutely be clearer about what the news means to them. And of course, number 4, don't ever assume that they will automatically know what to do next. You have to remind them. So as I mentioned before, if you'll take 100 seconds max to pause and answer these 4 questions before the pen hits the paper, you're going to relay a thought out communication piece that connects with them. It shows your focus is on them. I think it might be hard for some of us to believe how scared some people are. Many might not be pulling a salary or can't make the rent, or what do they most need that you can be a true resource about? Only you can figure that out, but at the same time, I know that you all have a lot of decisions you're making at the same time too. So this slide right here can be your guide every time you decide to convey something. All right, how about some examples? Maybe instead of this, business as usual, it just came into my email yesterday. Can you really apply in person for your vote by mail ballot? I'm kind of wondering, like, think about the goal, think about the audience, get your homework in place. I'm just not sure this is how the election's going to work unless in just over a month. So if I'm a confused, worried member, here's what I would appreciate. If you have the ability to delay something, to delay an event, to delay something that might be a little bit trivial right now, tell them, we have a lot to celebrate, but we're not going to do it right now. Because we know some of you are suffering, some of you are worried. So we'll do it. Look for more information. What about this one? Oops, sorry about that. What about this one? A new hotline, a national hotline for members to answer their questions. I thought that was really, if you really want to think about what you can do to plan and make decisions about how to help that worried soul, do what you can, scale what you can. If you want to build trust, you just can't communicate like you always do in this crisis. Today, you got to show care. Today requires different thinking, different doing, reprioritizing, removing the trivial, whatever might be trivial. I'm going to suggest this is not the time to ask for money, nor is it time to ask for nominations for an award. For today, your role is to acknowledge the worry that's out there, acknowledge what they're going through. If it's dues renewal time, I certainly understand. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Right now, it's your job to plan and deliver credible information so that once this is over, they're going to see you as a valuable partner. They're not going to mind paying you dues when this is over. But today should be about thinking through the most vital way to connect with them so that you reinforce that you are a partner with them. Okay? If it is dues renewal time, it might be for some of you, you might say something like this. We're continuing to work hard every day to deliver you services that we think are most important. And that said, you might have been hurt financially. If you're able, we hope you'll pay your dues. And if you can't, we will wait. But please contact us to talk about it. All right, that's the way to show care. I don't want you to necessarily take this and use it. I want you to use this as a framework for showing care. As a matter of fact, here's a state association where this is around where I live. So you probably see some of these, the same kind of caring tributes. And this is a healthcare association, but I show it because it is an amazing way to pay tribute to members. I want to show you 54 seconds of showing care. Okay, now you know I'm from Kansas, so I guess I just wanted to show that because showing care should be a priority. Remember that loss is going to linger forever, and hardship is going to linger, but it's going to pass. But the things that you do for your members to show care right now, they will remember that for a very long time. Number two, I suspect that you all are reacting to many, many uncontrollable forces right now inside and outside the association. But we have all seen in real life the consequences of failing to plan. I would like to take a poll. Amy and I decided we would do an experiment today. So I'm going to launch the poll at GoToWebinar and see how it's working. And I'm going to ask you this question. So just in case, do you have a written plan, gosh darn it, for this crisis? I'm going to try to launch this poll and see if it works, because I would sure like to know. Okay, I am getting like a spinning wheel. All right. Well, I just would love to know this. Oh goodness. Okay, it is not liking this at all. Okay, so let's move on. We all know that feeling. We never want to admit to this, but that nervous, uncomfortable feeling like we're winging it. So nothing, on the other hand, beats the confidence of knowing that you have a plan. It's a perfect starting point. A crisis communications plan helps keep you prepared. Make sure that you understand that you have many things to deal with, but at least you have a plan. A plan helps you focus on your most important audiences. It helps you figure out the right information that they need to know. It helps you stick to a key message that your members can grab onto, and it helps you deliver on that promise that you make. So you may think that you can remember all of this in your head. I happen to know that you have a lot going on in your head right now. So no one expects you to keep it in your head, but you shouldn't be expected to wing it either. Even in a crisis, changing day by day, a plan keeps you grounded. This is an actual real life communications plan. All right, it's not meant to scare you. I show it because if you have a plan today, you're already ahead. This right here, it looks complicated, but it's really not. It's built over time. It never started out like this. It starts out simple with a framework like your goals and your target member group. See that at the top? And the various ways you communicate with them. This is a real life plan that helps you stay focused. It helps you make quicker decisions. It helps you get organized. It helps you know how to pull an audible. If you work from a plan today, you're going to slash it pretty heavily right now, because anything that is not hyper relevant, that adds new information or that's valuable for this pandemic is probably going to go for now. And we call this removing the rot, removing the redundant, the overwhelming, and the trivial. And that applies for this crisis. Your plan may scale up if you're a larger organization or scale down if you're a smaller one. Either way, when you can see what you deliver and all the channels you use to communicate, you're going to make faster, better decisions every single day. Now, with that said, what if you don't have one? So just so that we set the scene, your key communicator needs to lead this effort and needs to share it with everyone else. So here is a template for a simple crisis communications plan, quick and dirty. With the plan, you're going to keep your one key message at the front and center. That's the one up at the top. This is only an example of a key message. I said these are in no particular order. We're going to talk about key messages in just a minute. This plan lays out the audiences you need to reach, and these are just examples. That's the first line, the ones at the top. Then you know who you're talking to when you send the news out. You can take a couple of minutes to think about which member segment is worried about what, because they probably worry about different things right now. So before you send a one-size-fits-all breaking news, you'll ask yourself, are we presenting information for all of our audiences or just one of them? Okay, a plan helps you really be intentional about what you say. You'll look for the topics and the updates and the news that is most important. So for example, is it your particular industry changes or safety? Man, safety takes on a whole new meaning today. Is it local or state restrictions? This plan is your brainstorming tool. So today you might think continuing education is most important. The plan helps keep you focused on what they need to know most for their business to survive. So start working from a plan that's simple and keeps you organized. And then once this is a habit, you might just plan, like move into this being the way that you plan. So while you're fielding 10 other priorities, if you have a plan in front of you, you're going to think more clearly about what to publish where. And then when breaking news comes in, it's going to help you think through how to spread this word. This is page 2 of that crisis template. So with a plan, you're not going to just deploy anything on Thursday because your day is Thursday. You'll shift by a day or two because of breaking information. By the way, real life check for all of you right now who think that you need to send multiple messages a day. The White House briefing doesn't break in every hour or as news happen. Americans know that if they want to watch the White House briefing every day at 5 o'clock, there's a White House briefing. People have other things they're worrying about right now. They appreciate a schedule, even in a crisis. So please remember, you are not the only ones sending the same news to your members, so be very specific and manage that information. This matrix, this template will help you start to organize yourself first. So it's your decision. Oh, by the way, there's a great resource on the GrowthZone webpage on their blog about creating an association, about developing a crisis webpage, and you ought to go get it. Just go to GrowthZone to blog and type in association crisis webpage. It's very, very good. So I really recommend that you go get that. All right, it is your decision how to present information based on your audience, your goals, your ability to collect information. So these are 2 real life sections of a newsletter. All right, you can give information like this. This is kind of the find it yourself option, or you can decide that you promise your members something very specific and then you deliver it. So in this case, take a look here. The New Jersey Realtors help members with quick answers to the questions they know in their industry that their members need most, that's most on their minds. All right, so the way you do it is up to you and based on your manpower and your restrictions, but many ways to deliver on your promise. It's a new world for everyone. You know, if you think you can't build new habits at the turn of a dime, I would remind all of us to think about if we're doing anything different today than we did 6 weeks ago. Does anyone take your temperature every morning today? Does anyone clean sinks and countertops multiple times a day now? Do you take your shoes off when you come in your house? Do you carry your mask with you? Does anyone clean your own house today? Different than you did 6 weeks ago. Do we all do it the same? No, we don't all do it the same. But the idea of changing things at work is not a far reach from the new habits that we're all developing at home. So make a plan and then use it. You will get used to it and you will begin to rely on it for better decisions. All right. Next, number 3, make some decisions ahead of time. Earlier, I acknowledged it's really hard to be a leader today. I'm sure your leadership is facing some difficult, important, bold, critical decisions about how to move forward in this world. This step is all about making decisions. Making the decisions and then taking action on those decisions. This is where you coordinate how to go out and get the information to convey, what services to suspend, which to modify. I suspect you all have done this already, but just in case you haven't, it is up to you, the leader, to coordinate these communications that are going out about the decisions that you've made. Who's going to take the lead on economic relief in your area, in your industry? Who's going to take the lead on regulatory changes? Who's going to take the lead on local issues? Everything is not yours to do. So what you're going to see next is how an association process works, a real life one, a true effort. Here's a picture of a state association. It started with a formal sit down back in March to decide how to use their communications plan and adjust it in this crisis. It's a plan with the member right in the middle, the yellow box, with inputs from many sources and a team doing the work, and the outcome is purposeful. With all the information that everyone has to sort through, someone needs to decide what members most need to see. Of course, you're going to figure that out, but once you do that, using your plan, you can stop thinking everything has equal importance. So whatever your approach, I suspect the goal is the same. You're going to take questions from your customers, your members. You're going to decide on what's most important to go get, and then you're going to deliver clear updates and clear up confusion that's out there, all on a regular basis. So in this situation, it's a daily virtual meeting between governmental affairs, education, and the legal departments, talking to the CEO to talk about, to source, to decide the information that's coming in and what they're going to go look for from government, from other related industries, and in this case, from the Real Estate Commission. You see leadership here down at the bottom. They're going to make policy decisions. And then all of this information makes its way to the communications department, those around the yellow box, and they're going to create and deploy clear and simple communications. So let me stop right now and say I have the most respect for every one of you who are investing so much of your time to show your value to your members. And I also want to give a special thanks to Mike McGee. He's the CEO of Pennsylvania Realtors and his staff, because they shared their approach with us. This is their process. And here's how the communication looks every time it goes out to the member. Every time. It's equal parts clear and member focused. It's very current with up-to-the-date information, plenty of white space. Yes, I'm big on white space. Let the eye breathe. You do not wing it and deploy communications that looks like this. So whose role will it be to pull these updates together? This takes some major coordination. But whatever you decide, I promise you, a plan that may not be perfect is better than no plan at all. It's a way to show a member that you are on it and in it for them. In addition, your plan helps you know how to pique members' interest so that they'll come to your website for frequently asked questions. Social post. On a related note, who does what is also, as you know, vital for knowing who your spokesperson is for the media, the process you'll use when a call comes in. Of course, I don't need to tell you you're not all together, so you're going to need to coordinate this. But you want to make sure your association's voice is accurate and clear and sound. Because you know at some point, the media is going to be calling you. Okay, number 4, a reminder to own it. Now is the time. I know many of you have a quote unquote member first philosophy. Now's the time to own that philosophy. This means not starting off a communication with your board of directors made a decision or quote unquote important update. Instead, begin the communication addressing their worry with them in the spotlight, not your leaders. Get right to the news instead of all the caveats, who the update's from, or a label that says important update. Just get to it. If someone makes a decision to change the way, classes or meetings are held or classes are held or suspend an association activity, own it. Take responsibility. Don't call it a leadership decision. Just own the decision. If it is yours, own it. Let's use I don't know that we're going to be able to do this, darn it. I just so want to chat with you guys, but we're not going to do that. We're feeling like like the technology is not our friend today. So let's leave it at that to take a leadership position. So why go to all this trouble unless you're trying to build something? Solidarity, or to show care, or to be the place that your members can rely on. A core message reminds your members what to do and why you're the one that they should look to for it. In fact, an environment where information like today is like a fire hose, you might need a gentle reminder to keep you on track and stay grounded about what you're trying to convey to them. So, as an example, this was the first key message about COVID-19. Stay, stop, save. Do you remember it? I happened to be catching Governor Cuomo's news conference a few minutes earlier. And do you know he still has it at the bottom of his screen? Stay home, stop the spread, save lives. That is their core message. The nonprofit partnership for New York City, they launched this campaign to encourage people to do just that. You saw it from CNN to Fox News to NBC to magazines to social over and over again. It is the bottom line message that the CDC and New York City wanted people to know. It's the hook that keeps all of them, and by the way, all of us now, by extension, focused. You need a core message as well. For yourself, for your staff, for your leaders, and for your members, so they know what to look to you for and to help you stay focused. All right? So this message down here, does this stay the same all the time? Is it forever? I don't think so, because that one got replaced by this one, remember? I think that was maybe 3 weeks ago, right? Okay, and then that one was replaced by this one just last week. So key messages change, it's okay. That's why you need one for this particular crisis. It will change after the crisis. Maybe go back to your value proposition. Many of you have what we call a value proposition. If you do, you have some built-in key messages inside your value proposition that tells members what you promise them right now in today's crisis. This is your litmus test for those of you who have a value proposition. Can you pull out a piece of that that is relevant today for the people that you most want to reach? So for those of you who have one, that key message is the one commitment that you prove over and over again, what your members can rely on you for. You should say and promote that message. It's not your mission statement, it's your value proposition, what they need most and what you do best. This is when you really get to use that value that you promised. All right, key messages can be as simple as this. Who is this? Wonder if anybody knows. This is Walmart's key message right now. It is the foundation of everything they say and do. It is their messaging, it's their promise. It's simple, it keeps them focused. Key messages keep you grounded as much as your members keeps you grounded in a crisis. So next I'm going to show you 3 real life association core messages that come from their value proposition. First one, supporting your business is our business. Can be as simple as that. We're in touch with what's important to you. If it's about Johnson County, you'll find it here. That is their key message every day. It's now more important than ever to deliver on that. So if you're in Johnson County, you're going to get Johnson County news and how the world news or the state news or the city news impacts business in Johnson County. Look at what you have already that you can prioritize and present this credible voice through this crisis. Okay, what if you don't have one, a formal value proposition or a formal key message? Well, a key message, I'm going to remind you, links up to something you do best with what your target audience needs most. So you don't get a pass. You need one of these. You need a formal value proposition. I talked to you about this back in October. That's for a different session. But you need a key message that comes out of a value proposition ideally, but if you don't have one, you need a new key message. So I'm going to give you some ideas. You can shortcut it for this process. So I want you to think about this question. Whoops, not that one. I want you to think about this question. Come on. What solution can you deliver on right now? And you're going to have to think through this. What is it? What one thing do you deliver on right now? So I'm going to give you 3 possible key messages. I don't care if you use them. Take them and use them if you want to, or take it and create one of your own. All right? Something like this. We're partnering with you for what's ahead. We're working together to overcome any challenge that faces us. Or this one. Remember, we all rally around people who will offer us something valuable advice, the truth, solutions. Be that organization. All right? Here's an association whose message is preparing every day for what's ahead. It keeps them focused. Their members know what to look for them for. That is their value proposition. So with this message, the associations is the one that's going to deliver insurance concerns going forward, making business more efficient in today's world, even growing their business during a quarantine. They are helping their members prepare. In short, a key message is the shortcut for why your members should pay attention to you right now. All right. Next, in this set of 6 items, this one is operational. It's very tactical. It's not the strategy of developing the plan. It's not the strategy of figuring out what the message is. It's tactical. The fact is, people are reading more now than ever, and readability matters now more than ever. So keep that in mind as you report breaking news to keep the conversation simple. Here are 3 rules of thumb as you communicate throughout a crisis. All right, readability, focus on readability. So before I give you the 3 rules of thumb, I just want to read this to you because this might be my key message to you for this whole hour. Most of the time, we don't see the world as it is. We see the world as we are. And I say this to associations so often, I remind myself so often, because you all as association communicators, you know more, you care more, you understand more about your association than 90% of your members. So you think it from a different perspective. As a communicator, you communicate from a different perspective because you don't see the world the same way as they do. So the more we can look at the world as they do and show care and be deliberate and make decisions with them in our mind, the better we're going to be, the more effective we're going to be at connecting with them. Number 1, be crystal clear about the why. It does not matter that your office closed. It matters what the member can or can't do because the office is closing. Okay? That's the bottom line here. Remember to tell the member, remember your job. Tell them the problem you solve, not just the issue you're working on, not just the news you're reporting, not just the service you offer. A feature are the things that you do, the services you provide. A benefit are the things that the member will be able to do because of what you offer them. If I had to say one thing that happens that I try to gently convey in communications audits with associations is too many features, too many features, too many features, not enough about how that feature will impact the member. Because the communicator is speaking from their point of view. They're seeing the world from the services point of view instead of the benefit, what it will do for the member. Please don't make them figure it out. Go the extra step and say why with everything you are delivering today, with every piece of new news. If you don't know what it means to them, don't publish it. All right? Number 2, keep it short, keep it simple. Long sentences, big words, passive sentences, they are out. Studies show that people are twice as likely to understand your information if you keep your writing short and your words and your sentences simple. By the way, this introductory paragraph from ASAE, this sentence is 40 words. If you're going to have any chance of getting 80% comprehension, your sentences should be an average of 14 words in length. Shorter, shorter, shorter. Let the eye breathe. Okay? The best way I know to think about this is think index cards. not toilet paper. I know that kind of has special meaning today. Okay, email is no time for a keynote address or an email header dedicated to one big headline or the headshot of your CEO or saying this is an update from Ed or whoever it might be. That is trivial. Next, right size your communications in plain words. Do the work for them. Okay, I love that I can bring in a subject matter expert on this topic, a reader of email. So I'm going to have a little brief moment of levity, and we're going to let Jimmy Kimmel reinforce this point. Here goes.
You know, being cooped up in the house with children isn't easy, but there are a lot of things that you could do to avoid going crazy. You could cry in front of the kids. You could panic buy ramen on Amazon, or you could go through 500 emails from major corporations letting you know that they're washing their hands now. Long emails, thousands of words. The email I got from CVS was longer than one of their receipts. And listen, I get it, but I don't need 12 paragraphs from Budget Rent-A-Car to let me know they're wiping down the steering wheels in their Hyundai Elantras. I have received more coronavirus emails from Petco than the CDC.
I don't know, I thought I would just let that sink in for just a moment. You still get 2 seconds to get their attention. I just don't know the playbook that all of these companies were playing from, that everything was on one page. Whatever you send, however often you send it, think through, is it the right information for them to scan? Will it get their attention? Will it get them clicking to something else that you have to offer them? Will it get them coming back for more? I can't help but build on Jimmy's rant here with a post that just appeared a few minutes before this session started, and I hope it will make you chuckle. It has to do with the airlines. Okay, so there. All right, so case in point. All right, I gotta tell you, Southwest, really, I am such a fan of Southwest Communications. I have learned so much from the way they reach out to me in person over the years. I'm an A+++ member. Southwest, this is your chance to ace it. You know, my name is on everything. You know more about me and my travel habits than, I don't know, anyone. So really, when I say who wrote the playbook, I'm really wondering where this came from. This is a lesson for us all, to see the world from your customer's point of view and not from your point of view. I hope that you all are starting to kind of get what we're saying here. So here's what I kind of expect from Southwest Airlines. First of all, that was how I felt when I read this. Come on, you guys are better than that. All right, here's what I expect. Show me that you love me, okay? Isn't that what their key message is? Love me. Show me that you know that I'm gonna scan your emails. Remember that I'm gonna scan it, and so is everybody else. You still get 2 seconds to get my attention. Analysts say that you get even less than 2 seconds in this crisis. Make it easy. I want relevant, useful information, and I want PR right now. So Southwest did not reach out to ask me, but if you want to stand out in the inbox, do not play by that playbook. Okay, I'm going to break down my own rule here. I said earlier I was not going to tell you what to say. I'm going to suggest what Southwest might say. So this is how the 6 steps actually play into a communications makeover. Are you ready? To our customers from Gary Kelly, I'm fine if Gary Kelly sends it. That's great. Tell me the CEO is sending me a note. I make this personal commitment to you. While things are changing, one thing will never change: keeping you at the heart of what we do. Own it, show care, and incorporate your key message. If you can't do it here, you have no way to do this. Oh man, that was such a miss. We have 5 areas that we're going to make sure delivers on that promise. We made the decision, these are the things we're going to focus in on because that's what we know you care about. Click any of them to get information, and we're going to also reach out to you about things that apply to you. Give me a call to action. And then on behalf of the airlines, thank you, and our hearts go out to you. Keep it short and show care. Man, if we just have the ability to kind of like net it out instead of saying everything that's on our minds, is that starting to help you understand why a plan is so important? Without a plan, you just write and write and write and write and add and add. And with a plan, you trim and you trim and you get focused on your audience and you get focused on your key message and delivering on your key message. I know you all, every one of you, are working overtime to prioritize the right services and policies and communications. I've talked to association executives and executive directors across the country. Some feel like the police, some feel like parents, some feel like arbitrators, some feel like newsrooms. So much coming at you. All right, so we've been together for 50 minutes. What's next? So remember question 4 of the 4 questions. Don't ever assume that somebody automatically knows what to do next. You always have to be clear. So here is what's next. If you don't have a written down plan, start one now. Start simple, put it on paper, go get and revise the one that you have right now, or use that template. By the way, in your handouts over here, there's a handout right over there in your little display there. You can get the handout and it has that template for you to use. Plan it's going to outline who does what, who the audiences are, the most important spaces for you to fill in, what you can relay to them to be most valuable. Think like them. That is the best way I know to help you filter all of that information that's coming in and out today. So yes, we're in a crisis. Logistical, biological, economic, and medical and financial. Yeah, we're in a lot of crisis today and it's changing by the day. Together, we can avoid a communications crisis when we put a process in place to deal with all that information and deliver just what your worried souls need right now. And then, you know, maybe after all of this ends, somebody says it's going to end. I hope it's going to end. You might grow something new out of this crisis that you just didn't expect. New habits, new connections, new competence, new value for your members. 6 considerations. I hope you'll decide to think through that so you don't wing it, but rather you'll be intentional about everything you say and everything you put out. Trust, but verify that you're doing the best job to make the best impression you can in this crisis. So I appreciate your mingling safely with me today. So now I'm going to encourage you to take your listening hat off, put your leader hat back on, your communicator hat back on, lead with grace, lead with confidence through this crisis, because I am pretty sure that winging it is just not your style. So Amy said that we will be finishing up Write Like a Rock Star in 2 weeks, 2 weeks from today on May 7th. We'll take that first step that we did, it will be a month then, it will be a month, and we'll follow on with that. If you have any questions about today, you want some clarification, reach out to me. If you want to subscribe to an occasional e-newsletter that is very simple about one concept at a time, you can do that, insightmarketing.com. It is occasional, I promise you. Let's see, we try to find inspiration, like in our company, we try to find inspiration from associations and communication experts and promising practices, and we like to share them on Instagram and LinkedIn. That's where we thrive. So feel free to follow us if you want updates, encouragement, inspiration. And finally, we believe that this is what we do to be the best and highest use of our experience and our networking and our testing and trialing and measuring with associations. We try to help you communicate better with the people who are most important to you. So with that, I'm going to say, let's take a few minutes for some questions. And this was a whole lot of information. So I know some of you may need a minute to think about it, but Amy, do we have any questions?
We do. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. Well, first of all, wow. This has been an incredible presentation and a lot of great questions have come through. I'm just scrolling here. We've had a lot of chat today, so One person was asking if the key messaging should change after this is all over.
It should definitely change once this is over. You need a formal value proposition once this is over. What I like to say to clients who have a value proposition, you probably won't use your entire value proposition, but that's the reason you have it. A value proposition helps you really think through in the calmest time possible what members need most, diverse members need most, that you can do best. So if you have a value proposition, you're only going to use one little key message part of that during a crisis. So once this is over, yes, I am 99% sure that your key message will change. It will be broader. It will be a little more universal. It will apply to work that happens that is outside of this crisis.
Awesome. The next question is, it's a long one, but I like it. Where do you draw the line between showing care by giving them information they need and then basing communications on how to get them clicking? Is getting them clicking truly showing care?
Oh, that's so interesting. I don't see showing care and clicking related. I see thinking through the 4 questions and the way you construct your communications, that's going to lead them to clicking. So when I say showing care, you can show care in an e-news article, and you can also be able to relay what's in it for them in this news article that will then get them to click. So care pulls them in right now. It's the what's in it for them. It's the benefit. It's the teaser. It's the way you construct the information based on the quote unquote 4 questions that's going to get them to click. So showing care is like the sort of the soft part of the way you write. The 4 questions is part of the structure of the way you write. Okay, so like the structure is the theory, and the showing care is the art. And as you know, there's art and there's theory and practice that all has to come together for effective communications. I hope that makes sense.
That makes sense to me. I'm just looking to see if one more came in. It's another one of, where is the line between giving your members information and doing it all for them? How do you help people help themselves instead of spoon feeding everything to them?
I almost think I need to have an offline conversation with this person. I have like so many questions to ask because I'm not sure I completely understand the question.
We can connect you after the webinar.
Yeah, that would be good, because I think
sense.
that the idea of spoon feeding information, I really want to have some, maybe an example or 2 that would help me understand how are you spoon feeding information, and then I could help you understand the fine line between the 2.
Perfect. I think we have time for 1 or 2 more. Can you elaborate on how you list membership benefits to show how they are beneficial to a member and what benefits can do for their business because of what the chamber does? Do you have a short thought on that, or is there somewhere that you can direct us for an answer on that?
I think what I would say is that, in the communications business, the value doesn't start at member benefits. The value starts at an umbrella message about why you should belong, an emotional, compelling reason to belong. And the member benefits support that overall bigger message. So I think when you ask a question about how do I phrase member benefits, or how do I relay member benefits so they really understand that, I would probably say that this difference between emotional benefits and tangible benefits is really an art, and it's a really important art that you're not going to really get people to grab onto tangible benefits until you can help them understand how they sleep better at night. And when I talk about this whole idea, this whole concept of value proposition, That's about the emotional benefit for belonging to your organization and the very few most important member benefits that prove what you say. So it's a little bigger answer than just how do I phrase those member benefits so people will understand them. It's that it's not only about a set of networking events. It's not only about discounts. It's not only about leadership opportunities. It's not only about volunteering. It's not only about knowing what's going on. It's about the overall value of being a leader in a community and being part of the community's future. It's a bigger message that only you, association or chamber, can decide based on your membership. So I suggest that you might come to membervalue.org to learn more about how to relay member benefits using a value proposition and how that will bring people in to learning more about what your organization has to offer.
Awesome. I know that we are short on time for those of you that do need to drop off, understandable, and a lot of the resources are available on our website, and we will be sending a follow-up email. Additionally, I do have just a reminder that the Write Like a Rockstar Part 2 is coming up. We will be including a link for that, hopefully in the email that we'll be sending out with the recording. And also you will receive your CAE certificates in the next 24 hours as well. There's one last question, and I just have to ask because I'm curious too. She has asked, I have a trivial question, but it has a larger impact. The color red, okay to use in a font? I don't think so for a variety of reasons. And it's like, right, I want to know that too. So please tell us.
Okay, the answer is God made black marks to be on white paper. Be very careful with any kind of extraneous font color, including red. So the guideline is, I would say the guideline is 2 fonts max on any kind of publication, whatever you're putting out. One is always going to be your links. Those are always going to be in blue. And if you want to bring some other kind of highlight, but in general, I would agree with you that red is not an appropriate color for, I guess what you're saying, digital communications. And I would have to agree with you. I would, to be honest, I would just stay away from a lot of overstimulation in your emails. Let your content sell your material.
Oh, I love that. All right, and to wrap up, I want to thank everyone who joined us, particularly Melynn, obviously. For those that had audio problems, if you happen to be hearing this, our sincere apologies. We did have problems with the webinar service provider and are looking into that. And of course, the recording will be sent to all of those people, anyone that registered, regardless of how long they were on, regardless if they were able to attend at all. We will also be forwarding any additional questions to Melynn, and she may be able to follow up with some of you. Once you leave today's webinar, you will receive a survey on the presentation, and we sure would appreciate it if you would complete that and provide your feedback. And again, a link to view the recording is going to be sent, along with links for webinar registrations, slide downloads, etc. Reviewing my notes here. And again, I encourage you to reach out and schedule a brief no pressure demo to see GrowthZone software in action. And a link to schedule a time for that will also be included in the follow-up email. My biggest takeaway today, my favorite quote of all, was let the eye breathe. That's fantastic. I can really appreciate that. Fantastic rule of thumb. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Melynn. And we will look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks at Write Like a Rockstar Part 2.